Another day, another set of defections to LIV Golf. As more and more seasoned PGA Tour jump ships, the new league is gearing up to host its tournament events in full swing. This time, LIV has set its eyes on Australian courses for its events, motivated by its recent picks of Cam Smith and other Aussie golfers. What does this decision mean for the league's future? Well, let's find out. For starters, the Saudi-backed tour is taking its tournaments to Australia. First it was Aussie players, and now Australian golf courses. We see a pattern here. Yes, it's official. The Saudi-backed league is busy scouting some of the best Australian courses to host one of Greg Norman's golf events. What events, you ask? Well, the Shark announced that it would be a part of 14 events in 2023 around the world and will also include stops across North and Latin America, Asia, Australia, the Middle East, and Europe. Looks like the tour's already going all out. According to the Australian Golf Digest, the events down under are set to take place in Sydney. In the years before the pandemic, the Australian Golf Club and the Lakes had hosted Australian Opens, so we bet PGA isn't too happy with the new plans. Following up, Norman's plans for the tour are too big for just the usual English courses. Before the third LIV event in New Jersey, Norman went ahead and revealed his plans to expand his new venture, but the pro was adamant that his tour won't compete with the majors, international team events, or heritage events. Nope, he had other big ambitions for the league. In fact, its franchise model is aiming to bring in more fans from all corners of the world. This is clearly an effort to distinguish itself from its rival PGA Tour, which usually hosted most of its events in the US. It's no surprise then that the new competition is setting itself apart by expanding its tour locations and establishing a league that's more globally connected. For this, the new look LIV Tour will include the Golf League with 48 players and 12 established team franchises that will stay the same throughout the year. Up next, the huge number of Aussie players signed up with LIV also comes into play here. Another thing that attracts PGA pros to the Norman-backed series is that captains will be able to build their franchises for attracting fans and sponsors. Of course, the biggest factor that pushed LIV to shift to Australia is the golf champion Cameron Smith officially signing up with the new series. Last Tuesday, the rumors finally turned out to be true about the world's number 2 joining the Saudi-funded tour. Yes, money was a huge motivator. He got $100 million after all. But the player had also expressed before his desire to play in his home country. Shifting major tournament events to Australia not only makes Smith look like less of a sellout in the public eyes, but also lets the Saudi-backed tour keep their most prized player happy. Win-win, right? What's more is that we might be looking at an all-Aussie team too. Yes, maybe the new tour will give fans what they've always wanted, an exclusive team of Australian players. If anyone can do it, it's gotta be LIV. Not only does it have Cam Smith, but fellow Aussie golfers Adam Scott and Mark Leishman also made the move from PGA to the new golf circuit. Imagine an all-Aussie team among the 12 franchises. Not to mention Greg Norman himself is an Australian and very familiar with Australian golf venues. The Brookwater project, for instance, is something he'd been betting his money on since its early days. And did we forget to mention he's also the designer of the course? With Australian venues, Aussie players, and an Aussie pro holding the reins, we're sure Norman's thinking what all fans have been hoping for. Up next, which Australian golf courses are LIV Golf gunning for? From what we know, a Springfield golf course is definitely top of the list for LIV's potential venues for next year. In fact, they're already in talks with the developer Springfield City Group. Now, this developer owns the Brookwater Golf and Country Club and has revealed they met with LIV Golf officials about venues for next year's tournaments. Yes, plans for Aussie golf courses are looking pretty solid. Springfield's deputy chairman, Bob Sharpless, told ABC Radio Brisbane's Rebecca Livingstone that there had been a recent meeting with members of the tournament team. The meeting was pretty detailed, lasting for around 4 hours. No wonder Mr. Sharpless feels confident. We're definitely in the running, he said. He also confirmed that officials told them there's a commitment to having a tournament in Australia in April next year. So far, they haven't gotten any feedback from their last meeting many weeks ago, but we're convinced Australia is 100% the go-to venue for them next year. Let's look at which Springfield projects look the most attractive for them right now. Of course, there's Brookwater, given the legendary face of the new series is Greg Norman, and he designed the course himself. Could be good PR and marketing too if they play their cards right. If we had to guess, we'd say the Brookwater Golf Course is number 1 on the list. Even the Australian Golf Digest associate editor Stephen Kuipert agrees with us. He told ABC Radio that Brookwaters is a strong contender if they're looking at a Queensland event, but if they've Brisbane in mind, then obviously they also have a couple of good options at the Gold Coast too. Yes, Brookwater's not the only one they've scouted so far. Mr. Sharpless revealed that they visited 3 other courses in Queensland, then one in New South Wales and one in Adelaide. Get this, even the Queensland locations, the Glades and the Grand golf courses were both designed by Norman too. Looks like LIV is not putting all its eggs in one basket. basket. As of now, Springfield's prepping up its courses for a shotgun start. Turns out the scouting team has given them an idea of the numbers they're hoping to achieve, with an expected turnout of 25,000 per day. With this, Mr. Sharpless says they're underway some works around the course to allow the expected capacity. What they're hoping for is a course that allows this many people to move around fairly without being stuck in one spot. But he did mention that with no on-site accommodation, the Aussie golf courses might have to start building it in the future. In other news, first up, a PGA Tour veteran made a cheeky dig at Smith over missed weddings. Now that the British Open's champion has defected to the dark side, his former league's missing no chance to shame him. When Cam Smith signed a deal of $100 million to join LIV ahead of its Boston tournament this weekend, he knew what he was signing up for: Twitter drama and backhanded insults. This time, it was PGA Tour veteran Fred Couples who fired the shot. Smith had told Golf Digest earlier this week that the biggest thing that made him jump ships was the chance to spend more time at home in Australia. While he's been living in the US for 7 years now, he confessed it's been tough missing friends' weddings, birthday parties, and seeing his mates have a great time at the rugby league games. If Cam thought this was winning him any fans, he was wrong. Funnily enough, it did win him a subtle diss from the 1992 Masters champion, who tweeted, "To all my friends who I missed birthdays and weddings, so sorry, I was busy earning a living on the PGA Tour." Clearly, he was pointing out how real competitive games involved earning their way to work and not accepting huge payouts to relax with friends over rugby matches. He also cheekily added that by working on weekends, he meant 72 holes. We see what you did there, Couples. Next, Hideki Matsuyama will not be joining the new golf circuit as rumored. We might be having big names bolt away from the PGA Tour, but for now, Hideki Matsuyama is staying out on the OG Tour. There were many reports that guessed the Japanese star would be shifting to LIV after the tour season ended, that too for a 9-figure deal. But a source confirmed that the 2021 Masters champ won't be abandoning PGA. The decision came to protect his legacy. After all, he was the first Japanese to win the men's majors championship. A couple of $1 million isn't enough for the 33-year-old to ditch his legacy. Lastly, the golf icon savagely says Smith fell short of being a superstar. No one's as shocked by Cam Smith's decision to leave the PGA Tour as the golf icon Gary Player. He said that the Aussie champion was ill-advised and cost himself a place in history where he could have come out as a superstar. The player himself has won 9 majors and might not blame Stevenson for making the move because he had no money. Smith, on the other hand, had the potential to be a superstar, but Player thinks playing for 54 holes with no cut isn't competitive enough to make a champion. Now, if the 29-year-old will regret it or not, only time will tell. And that's a wrap for this video. Which Australian golf course do you think is going to host the LIV tournaments next year? Let us know in the comments below. Do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell notification for similar videos. We'll see you in the next one.